Since 1948, Israel has continued to displace Palestinians and claim their lands, often with excessive force. Despite repeated calls for peace, millions have been displaced, wounded, or killed, with a dream of justice that remains just out of reach. Today, Gaza remains as a symbol of that unresolved conflict, with its people waiting for that peace that never arrives. The British Empire once claimed that the sun never set on its territories, but the legacy it left behind cast a long shadow of division and conflict. In 1917, with the Balfour Declaration, Britain announced the creation of a Jewish national homeland in Palestine. That marked the beginning of a deliberate strategy to control the region, which set into motion decades of displacement, violence, and unrest. But the story of Gaza isn't unique. Just across the Irish Sea, the scars of British colonialism and conflict also run deep. As we leave London, we head next to Ireland, where another chapter of resistance and survival unfolds, a journey that links these two distant lands through their shared legacy of empire.
The genocide will be televised and across social media for everyone to see. To see the bodies of the babies being pulled from the rubble where human limbs lay scattered around, the burnt aftertaste of the panic and terror that an hour before bore a harrowing sound. The sound of the scream.
Jimmy, you're quite popular.
Yeah, we get a lot of support here every week, and generally very positive reaction to what we're doing. So it really kind of gives us a good momentum to keep going.
I'm wondering how music sort of fits into that action.
My tool is the guitar and singing and writing songs. So I was kind of thinking to myself, how would I incorporate that, or how would I use what I can do to bring awareness or to even draw attention to what's going on. So I just said, maybe I'll bring it to the embassy here and every week turn up and just play some music. It might not be the biggest thing in the world, but if you add it to all the other people who are doing something small, it all adds up into a kind of a snowball effect.
You're also writing about what's going on in Palestine right now, in Gaza right now. Listening to your lyrics, does it make you emotional?
A couple of the songs in particular, like the one I played there earlier, The Genocide Will Be Televised, it's very descriptive, and I found I was, the first couple of times trying to perform it, I was getting choked up even, and just very hard to kind of even say the words of what was going on. But I think that sort of has made the song have a bigger impact for people who listen to it.
We've seen solo protests, we've seen mass protests. I believe this is the first time I'm encountering a family protest. You're out here once a week on Wednesdays, and you're bringing your core family here. Tell me about that.
When I decided to do the protest, wife is very supportive, and she was more than happy to come along the first week, and then just started coming along every week. And then my son, when he's on school break or on holidays, he comes along as well. It's important as well to show him that we're not powerless, even if it's something that's only symbolic and coming up and standing on the street and just making your voice heard, that it can have some effect and a positive impact. And I just think it's important for him to learn that too. Don't be afraid to come out and stand up for what's right.
If you were to sort of describe what Israel is doing in Gaza right now, in one word, how would you describe it?
For me, there's only one word really that comes to mind all the time, and it's just genocide. I think just plain and simple, that's what they're doing. It's just horrible to watch, really, but I think that really sums it up for me.
Will be televised and brought to you in conjunction with the UN Declaration of Human Rights, which apparently no longer means a thing.
It seems the melodies of dissent soon echoed louder than expected. Not long after, Israel announced the closure of its Dublin embassy. But in the eyes of the Irish, This wasn't the goal, so protests continue to carry a message of resistance, and with each step, a firmer, bolder stance against oppression. Deputy Boyd Barrett, you have been a long-time vocal supporter of the Palestinian cause. How do you think things have changed in the last decades?
I think the support for the Palestinian people and for their struggle for freedom and liberation has increased exponentially across the globe. Today, the vast majority of people in this country see themselves as standing in solidarity with the Palestinian cause, and we have seen absolutely enormous protests and demonstrations and solidarity action with the Palestinians all over Ireland at a huge level, which is putting enormous pressure on our government. Israel is losing the battle of legitimacy, and the Palestinian people, despite the horrors they've endured, are winning the battle of legitimacy.
A lot of the people that we've spoken to, they're still thinking that we can do so much more.
We want more than words of sympathy with the plight of the Palestinians or symbolic solidarity. We want practical action to sanction Israel for the genocide it is committing against the Palestinian people and to help dismantle the occupation and the apartheid regime that Israel has imposed on the people of Palestine. So that means stopping flights going through Irish airspace that are carrying weapons to Israel. It means stopping the Irish Central Bank from facilitating the sale of Israeli war bonds. It means, in my opinion, cutting off all trade, political, diplomatic links with the apartheid state of Israel.
Is that what you think the long-term goal of Israel is?
I think Israel is a proxy of Western colonialism. It is a regime that, since it was established, has been based on the ethnic cleansing and persecution of the Palestinian people. And I think what we've seen in the last year is just the logic of the Zionist project working itself to its final extreme. So I think we need to recognize this is not a normal state. Israel is not a normal state. It is a brutal colonial state that is built on ethnic cleansing and on apartheid, and such a state has no place to exist in a civilized world. And what we want to see is equality between Muslim, Christian, Jew, and people of no religion. And that can only happen when we dismantle this apartheid state.
And if I were to ask you to perhaps characterize, to summarize, in one word, it's difficult, I know, what's going on in Israel right now?
This is genocide. This is the worst crime that can be committed against other human beings. And if that doesn't prompt the world to act and sanction this brutal regime, I don't know what will.
Gaza, a place where the skyline has been replaced by rubble, where entire neighborhoods have been reduced to ash and twisted metal. The air hangs with heavy loss. This is no laughing matter. Yet amid this mass destruction, voices of truth emerge. Take Hickey's unique style of comedy, challenging Western narratives, has been captivating audiences through his biting satire and sharp wit.
Heading to one of those pro-Palestine marches, yeah? Yeah? Are you? Nah, I couldn't be arsed. I'm sorry? I don't really care about them. Do you know that over 30,000 people have been murdered, yeah? Mostly women and children. You know, it's so funny. I find the darker the skin colour, the less I seem to care. You know, like with the invasion of Ukraine now, I mean, I remember saying to the missus, that could be us, as in they look like us. But with brown or black people, it's harder to identify, isn't it?
So one of the things I love about your comedy is you play multiple characters. Tell me how this sort of evolved.
I think me playing all the characters thing happened out of necessity during COVID. I was basically at home, like all of us, trapped, no work, couldn't get out of the house. As I was struck by straight away when I saw it, when I saw the rushes, was that whether you're a mighty imperial state or you're a lowly occupied country, Everyone's on the same level if everyone's some lad in a house with a Cork accent.
Geopolitical satire. Using satire in terms of portraying a particular message, it's very powerful.
Yeah, it makes a supposedly difficult situation that the ordinary person like me wouldn't understand. It makes those situations very simple by kind of bringing it down to a base level.
Brucey, you're not still marching, are you? Well, the genocide is still going on, so yeah. But then you're wasting your time, aren't you? I mean, it doesn't seem that Israel is overly concerned about a few hundred hippies in Cork shouting about enchiladas. Intifada. And what are you doing to help? Oh, I think there must be some confusion. I don't care. You don't care about unimaginably traumatized, orphaned children living in sewerage. Sorry. Yeah, what it is actually is, I don't care enough. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think Israel has gotten one or two things wrong. But that's war, isn't it?
But also, I think if I were to add to that, I mean, yes, when I'm watching you, I laugh. But then once the sketch is over, there's food for thought there.
Yeah, so that's where satire really gets in there, I think, because if you can do something that reaches a lot of people and they kind of think to themselves, well, is it actually this complicated? They're new in a way that I think somebody giving a speech or even reading a book sometimes can't do, because the academic language can again just feel like it's pushing you out. I think as well, I'm lucky because my launch pad for this type of comedy is Ireland. And everybody intuitively understands in Ireland, I think, what's going on when one group is labeled a bunch of terrorists and this other group are just trying to do what's right for the world and civilize. And Ireland has a great tradition in sending up and lampooning authority. That's what we did to survive. So Irish satire that's supporting a colonized people, I think, makes a lot of sense.
I just want to say that in terms, I really feel for Palestinians right now, and I hate that they're dying because, as I say, I hate death. But in terms of Israelis, like what they went through on October 7th, I think we can all unequivocally agree was the worst thing that ever happened to anybody, ever, under any circumstances, forever. Except for the Holocaust,
How do you feel the message? Was it easy to sort of translate into what's going on in Gaza right now? Does it sort of transcend the story of this country?
It totally does. I mean, I think we were talking earlier, I really felt like my skill set was kind of here, and then this horrific thing happened in the world, and my skill set was just completely right to try and amplify the oppressed person's story, because that's the one that we don't hear.
A lot of the people that we talk to, you said, you know, we want the occupied territories bill to pass, or Shannon Airport to. Is that your concern, or are you more content with just being the vessel in terms of getting the message out there so people decide where they stand?
No, because, I mean, I do both. So I've been heavily involved in a recent action at Shannon Airport, because I and a lot of my allies and friends in this movement feel like that's Shannon Airport and Aldergrove and Belfast are effectively the epicenters of Irish complicity, because Irish airspace and airports are being used constantly by US military. So I would like to think that I'm part of a group that are agitating for change on the streets, but then you can do a more subtle form of resistance, I suppose, through comedy. So I like to do both.
That's mine. Hey! That's enough now. How many warnings have I given you? Who cares what you say? You're a joke. My dad's the principal, so whatever you tell me to do, he tells me I don't have to anyway.
If you were to sort of describe what's happening there right now, perhaps in one word, how would you describe it?
It's the classic colonial playbook. Dehumanization, annihilation, genocide.
In the back streets of Dublin, graffiti whispers truths the world often silences. Walls become canvases of resistance, painted with the cries of the forgotten. Among the colors and slogans, an innocent face emerges. The face of a young Palestinian child, a life cut short in the endless storm. Their eyes, frozen in time, stare back at us, asking questions we're too afraid to answer. Hey there.
Hi.
So I've been going around the city sort of admiring some of the murals that you've been doing. There's a common theme. I mean, you feel very close to...
I've always painted about issues that I feel strongly about. So if there's something going on in Ireland or internationally that I feel like, well, at the moment is a massive humanitarian issue.
Do you think that the events of October 7th and what's been happening since really sort of provided an extra bit of inspiration for you to start doing your Gaza-themed paintings?
I'm not under any illusions that by me painting about it, it's going to make it stop or do anything really, except for maybe amplify Palestinian voices and show them solidarity and show them that people all around the world are standing with them and are totally, absolutely appalled and disgusted and horrified by what's happening and what Israel's doing to them.
Some of your larger murals, the realism is actually, it's shocking. When you look at it, the meaning in the eyes of the children that you paint is...
Mas is the child that's wrapped in the shroud in the photo that Mahmoud Bassem took that everyone, well, so I originally got onto Mahmoud and asked for permission to paint the photo, but I knew nothing about the child or the woman in the photo. I wanted to paint it in a way that people didn't know what it was about when they were originally looking at it. I just went with like baby pink and like childish colours. It's actually at the end of a street where there's a play school, and a lot of parents walked by with their kids around the same age and made comments like, oh, look at that girl. I think with that one, a lot of people saw their own child in it once I told them what it was about. Or the poem that I wrote to go with it, I put on a plaque on the wall beside it. The poem, I only ever write poetry when it comes to me.
What sort of reactions are you getting from Dubliners?
Like the vast majority of Irish people are completely with Palestine and standing behind Palestine. So it has been mostly very positive reactions. They feel the same about.
As Israel's relentless bombing of Gaza continues, the echoes of resilience and hope are getting louder. And with each passing day, as more innocent Palestinian lives are claimed, we're witnessing a rising global movement. And as a matter of fact, it's not all that different from 700 years ago when William Wallace shouted, "It's all for nothing if you don't have freedom." Beneath the towering spires in central Edinburgh, a different kind of protest rises. Not in shouts or in chants, but in harmony. Penny Stone leads a choir, their voices weaving songs of peace, a call to end the violence. Penny, tell me how your choir started.
We're a choir that have been going for many years, singing about social justice issues, including what's happening in Palestine, around Edinburgh and environmental justice. And when the October 7th attacks and the absolutely massive response from Israel happened, we just needed to sing. And it started off, there are people from all over the world that walking down this street every day. And so we connect with an international community of people, many of whom are upset about what's happening.
Your choir is actually quite multicultural, so that's a really good example of unity and what's needed there.
I think it particularly gives us strength that we have Jewish members in the group, because we have had people passing by shouting negative stuff, and also particularly a couple of the Jewish members of the group have had, I think, helpful conversations with other Jewish people or other Israeli people perhaps that have come past. There's a core membership of the choir who are also in a choir that have spent time in Palestine. And we sing some Arabic songs and have been singing them for many years. Some of the words written by one of our Palestinian singers.
Do you feel that in these times that because of what you do, because of other people who are standing up or trying to bring attention to what's happening there, not only in Gaza, but also on the occupied West Bank and perhaps southern Lebanon right now, that we're perhaps nearing or past a tipping point in terms of, look, what Western governments have been telling us for the past 2-3 decades really isn't the case.
You know, it's not right even to call it a silver lining, is that so many more people are aware of the size of the reality of the injustice that has been happening in Palestine for so much longer than the last year. So for us, for those of us, I think, that have been involved for a longer time, it's been an opportunity to educate people and to help people learn a bit more about what's happening and to gather that energy, and that I know in the first month or so, it was actually, for me, it was looking at the Jewish Israeli activists who were saying absolutely not, who were occupying the Congress, who were blocking the access to the White House. That was like, okay, we can do something, and it sort of gives that energy. But for people who perhaps are in that middle ground of, like, maybe they would be supportive, but they've got stuff going on in their lives and blah blah blah, if they're walking past and they hear some beautiful singing, they think, oh, what's that, and it just it gives them an invitation to come in to talk to us, and to listen and to sit with what's happening. And for people that maybe are more vehemently opposed to what we're saying, which in itself is sort of shocking, it's quite difficult to argue with beautiful singing, even if what that singing is saying is something and people do.
If I were to ask you to describe perhaps in one word what you think Israel is doing right now, what would you say?
It's beyond words. It's beyond words. I ran out of words in the first week after the 7th of October. And I'm a woman of words, I write songs. And I try to keep my focus on the people of Palestine and the people that are being impacted rather than what Israel are doing. And that, so that would be life,
We need to stop selling arms to Israel now. Nobody profits from the war machine. We are singing for a ceasefire now. 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 We are singing, singing. Oh, we are singing for a ceasefire now. We are singing, we are singing. Oh, we are singing for a ceasefire now. We need to stop.
Get ready, we're ballin'. I hit